Hello, I'm Lindsay Latham, the Senior Director of Student Financial Services here at Greensboro College. Today, we're going to talk about all things financial aid. What is financial aid? Types of financial aid, the free application for federal student aid, which is also called the FAFSA, the Student Aid Index, SAI, North Carolina residency determination, and outside scholarship opportunities. So what is financial aid? Financial aid is funding provided to students to help pay for college expenses. Financial aid can be federal, state, or institutional. It can come in the form of grants, scholarships, and loans. There are two types of financial aid: gift aid and loans. Gift aid includes merit scholarships. If a student is eligible for a merit scholarship, they will receive that information at the time of their acceptance letter from Greensboro College. Institutional grants, federal Pell Grant, North Carolina Need-Based Scholarship for students from North Carolina, and outside scholarships. Those are all considered gift aid, money that does not require repayment. Loans do require repayment, and they are part of financial aid. That includes direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, parent plus loans, and private loans. All loan types do require repayment. How do you apply for financial aid? The first step to applying for financial aid is to complete the free application for federal student aid, also called the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the application for federal and state aid, including the federal Pell Grant, the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, federal work study, federal direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and also the North Carolina Need-Based Scholarship for North Carolina residents. So the first step to completing the FAFSA is creating your federal student aid ID. Your parent and your student need to complete that FSA ID and password. The FSA ID and password is tied to your Social Security number, your name, and your date of birth. So you have to make sure that you and your student both create their own FSA ID and passwords. You also need to make sure that you are using a different email address, and please make sure that the student does not use their high school email address, because the FSA ID and password will be used throughout the student's duration in college. If you, the parent, already have an FSA ID and password, you will use that same one for this student's FAFSA. Please don't forget your username and password. Write it down, save it somewhere safe, because you will need this information later. To register for your FSA ID and password, please go to studentaid.gov. Once you have the FSA ID and password created, you will be ready to complete the FAFSA once it is opened on the studentaid.gov website. The Department of Education is making major changes to the FAFSA for the 24-25 year. Therefore, they have not released the actual date that they will open the FAFSA for the academic year of 24-25. We are encouraging families to be ready for the FAFSA to be open on January 1st of 2024. The 24-25 FAFSA will use your 22 tax information, and it must be completed every academic year. The FAFSA also collects demographic information about the student and the family. The FAFSA then takes all of that information and calculates the Student Aid Index, the SAI. The Student Aid Index, SAI, is calculated according to a formula established by the Department of Education. The formula considers the financial information from the student and the parent from the tax year 22, and the family size of the student. This calculation is used to determine the amount of federal and state financial aid a student will receive. It is also used by the school to determine if the student may be eligible for any need-based institutional aid. The SAI is not a guarantee of the dollar amount the student will have to pay for college. It is simply a number that the colleges and the federal government use to determine the student's eligibility. Calculating your financial aid. The school takes your cost of attendance. Cost of attendance includes tuition, room, meal plan, and a budgeted line for books, transportation, and miscellaneous expenses, and it subtracts out the SAI, that Student Aid Index. The result of those two numbers is called demonstrated need. The demonstrated need is how the colleges determine what type of need-based aid the student may receive, possibly additional institutional grants or scholarships, loans, or work study. For students that are from North Carolina, they will need to complete the North Carolina Residency Determination. The state of North Carolina requires that all students complete this if they are going to attend college in the state. At Greensboro College, it will determine if the student could possibly be eligible for the North Carolina Need-Based Scholarship. The determination is based on the parent's residency and information. So when a student goes to complete the North Carolina residency, they need to make sure that a parent is available because it will ask for their information. The website for the North Carolina residency is ncresidency.org. Greensboro College is committed to our students. We have developed a scholarship program for our North Carolina residents. It's called the Stay Local Scholarship. First-time freshmen from North Carolina who complete the FAFSA are eligible for the Stay Local Scholarship. Students that are eligible for the federal Pell Grant will receive a combination of federal, North Carolina, and institutional gift aid that will cover the cost of tuition. That does not include room and meal plan if the student decides to live on campus. However, again, it does cover the cost of tuition for North Carolina students that are eligible for the federal Pell Grant. Students from North Carolina that are not eligible for the federal Pell Grant will also receive a Stay Local Scholarship in addition to all other aid they receive. Outside scholarships are very important for all students. Some great resources for your student to search for outside scholarships. CFNC.org for students that are in North Carolina. Local organizations such as church or civic groups. Parent employers. MyScholarly.com. There are many resources for outside scholarships. What are your next steps? Create an FSA ID and password for both parent and the student at studentaid.gov. Once the FAFSA is opened, again, we're saying January 1st, complete the FAFSA using the 22 tax information. You can add up to 20 colleges on your FAFSA. All of this is done electronically. Complete the North Carolina Residency Determination at ncresidency.org. And make sure that you're searching for outside scholarships. Many deadlines for outside scholarships happen in the early spring, January, February, and March. When can you expect the financial aid offer letter from Greensboro College? We will start reviewing the FAFSAs for accepted students at the beginning of February. Students can expect to receive financial aid offers starting at the end of February from our office. These offers will include everything that the student is eligible for in terms of grants, scholarships, loans. It will also provide a breakdown of the cost for the academic year. Offers will be mailed to the student's permanent home address, and they will also be emailed to the student. If the parent has provided an email, a generic email will be sent telling the parent that we have sent all of the financial aid information to the student. Please feel free to contact our office if you have any concerns or any questions. Our email address is financialaid@greensboro.edu. Our phone number is 336-272-7102, extension 5217. Thank you for your interest in Greensboro College. We look forward to working with you and your student as they prepare to enroll here at Greensboro College.